Nadal, Alvin, had for all intents and purposes, had a very average serve. I think we would all agree with that.
Average
Most,
to over time,
I would say,
average to above average,
average
but
for a Grand Slam champion. I would say certainly average for a one of the best of all times. Now,
okay. Okay.
so that you and I, we know this. Most at home may not know this. Rafa is a right-handed player who learned to play left-handed. So people need to understand it was never his best throwing arm. Okay, number one. Hence why the serve speed was never as high as it could have been. With that said, ball 1 through 5, he wanted to get into the rally. Ball 5 through 8, he starts picking up racket speed, starts picking up acceleration and heaviness on his ball. Ball 8 through 15, Rafa gets better, hits faster, hits heavier, starts to accelerate to such an extent that you're playing his tennis now.
Yep.
On clay, no one wants to face a guy once they feel like they're back in the point and they're starting to exhale. I'm in it. And now the guy's starting to yank you from corner to corner, going behind you, hitting the ball heavier, hitting the ball harder, running around, never pulling the trigger like you hope he does so you can counter. He's going to say, no, not yet. I'm going to yank you a few more times and go bigger each successive time I do this. Now, what am I getting at? Rafa had a strategy that the longer these points go, it's so many body blows, you will not be able to hang with me as the point. You're almost going to be forced to go for something on your return on my serve and actually allow my counter punishing skills to come to the fray. And if you don't punish me on my second, you know what? Ball 15 later, I'm killing you. And don't let me get my inside in going on you on ball 15. You know it, and I know it, you're done. Now what? Here we have now Sasha Zverev on the complete other side of the spectrum. I've got a huge serve. I'm punishing. You're lucky to get the ball back, and I'm rolling you to the corner. But if you get that ball back, I'll roll one more back to the corner. And if you get me to ball 8, I am as mortal as anybody, especially on the clay. And that's what we saw this tournament.
Yeah, I want to go back to your point about Rafael Nadal, and this just kind of hit me as I was watching Carlitos kind of make his way through some tricky matches, some dips in play.
You're going to the Feast match, aren't you?
Yes. Well, second set against Feast, and then also a little bit of third set as well, and then also the final against Musetti in the second set, where Carlos
first set. I thought he had his hands full.
Well, okay, so you're talking about the first set of the final,
right?
Yeah. Well, sure. He came out guns blazing in the first set, like the first 2 games, and just could not.
Good tennis those first 2 games.
He could not find when he got the break early, got the first break of the match, and then was trying to serve to consolidate the break. Just forehands going everywhere like lasers, like he's got like he's just juiced up to not juiced up in a syringe type of way, but he's just like way too jacked, right? Coming out the starting line with like too much fuel that needs to be burned off. Yeah, exactly. And so once he kind of like found himself, or maybe just made the decision in the second set to, I need to start over and build again. You start to see him going heavy, doing the things that we talked about, just a couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago or so, where we talked about his natural ball can hurt people.
Right.
It doesn't have to be the winner.
Through the meat of the court.
Right down the middle of the court. Yeah, just go heavy, because that's what it kind of reminded me when you're talking about Nadal. He is begrudgingly doing Nadal things when things aren't going well. He's like, fine, I'll do it. And it's just heavy. And the next thing you know, he's got that big forehand in the middle of the court. And that's the one I'm taking inside the court, as opposed to from behind the baseline where he wants to hit it from.
Right. I will see you one and raise you another. 90% of the world goes cross court, right?
Sure.
We're trained to do it. We're told to do it.
It's the biggest space. The big angle.
Space, lowest net, most margin of error.
All the good stuff.
Know why, right?
All the good stuff's there.
So what does Carlos do better than most? He goes down the line.
Yeah.
Off of your good cross court. We're all told not to bail out and go drop shot. but his ball's so big and occasionally heavy and occasionally big. Either way, you need more time. You back up naturally. He backs up, mind you, a lot to get time at this ball. What does he do? He has, I call him the king of the drop shot. And it's so good and so disguised, and he hits so big, you really don't know which one's coming, right? I think we both agree with that.
Yeah.
Carlos Alcaraz does the anti almost to a fault. And I think we've seen that. I want to talk about Carlos' personal and his mental and dealing with being a good player. That we'll save that for the end. That's more of him coming of age as a player at a young age, trying to understand who he is and kind of following in this age of instant gratification, social media, and everything else. He's following who he is in real time, and that's tough to do. But that's another.
That's got to be wild.
It's got to be crazy to see you already in the conversation at a young age, being in that level, being in the conversation with the top three that ever played the game, and being coached by one of the game's greats and Juan Carlos, and you're already kind of feeling like I'm kind of halfway there. Juan Carlos didn't win any Grand Slams, and he's won 4 already. So that's got to be a little bit weird.
No, Juan Carlos won one. He won one.
Juan Carlos won a bunch of months 1000s. Tell me which one he won. Did he?
Is he the number one who never won a
He's
slam?
The one,
or the
who in Korea? He and Korea were the number ones that never won. They won several 1000s, by the way. I don't think Juan Carlos won one. You correct me if I'm wrong. And if he has, my point remains, his protege has won 4. So let's just I want to keep the emphasis here on he's outdone his coach, and that's first of all rare. Put a pin in it. Come back to Matt Safin and Rublev. We'll come back to that in a second. Here's the point I'm making. And first of all, Juan Carlos was one of my all-time favorite players. Love the guy from back in the day. I think he still has a winning record from the juniors back on one. Roger Federer from back in the day. The guy is just good. He was a class act. One of my favorite memories with the time I went to Australia. I walked, Sco and I were going to the practice courts. He has 2 players playing against him, doing 2-on-1s.
Yep.
We come back an hour later, Alvin, and there's 2 more guys warming up against my main man, JC. And we're like, what are these guys doing? Oh, we're next. Stretch it out. Ready to go.
Fresh blood.
Fresh blood. Fresh 2 players. And Juan Carlos is just hitting stride. Now, that lets you know right now, and this is an off day. The final is the next day. He's going to go on against Safin, by the way. Phenomenal match. I think it was 0-4. I'm watching. I'm like, God, this guy is a machine. Anyway, so make no mistake. None of this is a slide against Juan Carlos Ferrero. I think it was a great player. Now,
I'll just pause to put the respect on his name.
Oh my God!
2003 French Open champion Juan Carlos Ferrero.
Boom.
Beat Vertek, I think it was in the final. It's a little weird.
And of course it'd be the French. Of all
weird days before Nadal showed up.
Oh my
Very
God!
Weird days.
And like Roddick with the Open, right? With the U.S. Open before Fed showed up, right?
Weird days.
And that makes sense that it happened. So apologies on my main man JC.
We gotta put it out there. We gotta put it out there. Yeah.
Now, with that said, his protege's won 4. Now here I am. He is the antithesis, if you will, of what most do. Right. In that first set, he is so good at hitting, and this is a strange term, Alvin, the outside of a down-the-line ball, because he hits it from outside the alley and hooks it back inside the court.
Yeah, skinny cross. Sides. They call it the little skinny cross there.
The skinny cross. He hits it on both sides extremely well. Now, he got to feeling himself. I think he's done this a lot of times before in some of his early losses. He got to feeling himself early, thinks he has that ball, but unfortunately, he has not hit enough shots when he's trying that ball early. And he needs to be able to know when he has it, when he doesn't.